a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Kate Winslet. Kate Elizabeth Winslet is an English actress. She is known for her portrayals of angst-ridden women, typically in period dramas and tragedies. Winslet is the recipient of several accolades, including 3 British Academy Film Awards, and is among the few performers to have won Academy, Emmy, and Grammy Awards. Born in Reading, Berkshire, Winslet studied drama at the Redroofs Theatre School. Her first screen appearance, at the age of 15, was in the British television series Dark Season. She made her film debut playing a teenage murderess in Heavenly Creatures, and received her first BAFTA Award for playing Marianne Dashwood in Sense and Sensibility. Global stardom followed soon after, with her leading role in the epic romance Titanic. It was the highest-grossing film of all time to that point, after which she eschewed parts in blockbusters in favor of critically acclaimed, but little-seen period pieces, including Quills and Iris, the science fiction romance Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, in which Winslet was cast against type in a contemporary setting, proved to be a turning point in her career, and she gained further recognition for her performances in Finding Neverland, Little Children, Revolutionary Road, and The Reader. For playing a Nazi camp guard in the last of these, she won the BAFTA Award and Academy Award for Best Actress. In the 2010s, Winslet played a single mother in 1930s America in the miniseries Mildred Pierce. Joined the Divergent film series, and portrayed Joanna Hoffman in Steve Jobs. She won a Primetime Emmy Award for the former and a 3rd BAFTA Award for the latter. For her narration of a short story in the audiobook Listen to the Storyteller, Winslet won a Grammy Award. She performed the song, What If, for the soundtrack of her film Christmas Carol, the movie. A co-founder of the charity Golden Hat Foundation, which aims to create autism awareness, she has written a book on the topic, The Golden Hat, Talking Back to Autism. Time magazine named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world in 2009, and in 2012, she was appointed Commander of the Order of the British Empire. Divorced from the film directors Jim Thropleton and Sam Mendes, Winslet has been married to the businessman Ned Rock'n'Roll since 2012. She has a child from each marriage. Early life and initial stage and television roles. Kate Winslet was born on 5 October 1975 in Reading, Berkshire, England, to Sally Ann and Roger John Winslet. Her mother worked as a nanny and waitress, and her father, a struggling actor, took labouring jobs to support the family. Her maternal grandparents were both actors and ran the Reading Repertory Theatre Company. Winslet has 2 sisters, Anna and Beth, both of whom are actresses, and a younger brother, Joss. The family had limited financial means. They lived on free meal benefits and were supported by a charity named the Actors Charitable Trust. When Winslet was 10, her father severely injured his foot in a boating accident and found it harder to work, leading to more financial hardships for the family. Winslet has said that her parents always made them feel cared for and that they were a supportive family. Winslet attended St Mary and All Saints Church of England primary school. Living in a family of actors inspired her to pursue acting from a young age. She and her sisters participated in amateur stage shows at school and at a local youth theatre, named Foundations. When she was 5, Winslet made her first stage appearance as Mary in her school's production of The Nativity. She has described herself as an overweight child. She was nicknamed Blubber by her schoolmates and was bullied for the way she looked. She said that she did not let this defeat her. At 11, Winslet was accepted into the Redroofs Theatre School in Maidenhead. The school also functioned as an agency and took students to London to audition for acting jobs. She appeared in a Sugar Puffs commercial and dubbed for foreign films. At school, she was made head girl and took part in productions of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and played the lead role of Wendy Darling in Peter Pan. She worked simultaneously with the Star Maker Theatre Company in Reading. She participated in over 20 of their stage productions, but was rarely selected as the lead due to her weight. Nonetheless, she played key roles as Miss Agatha Hannigan in Annie, the Mother Wolf in The Jungle Book, and Lena Morelli in Bugsy Malone. In 1991, within 2 weeks of finishing her GCSE examinations, Winslet made her screen debut as one of the main cast members of the BBC science fiction television series Dark Season. Her part was that of Reet, a schoolgirl who helps her classmates fight against a sinister man distributing free computers to her school. She did not earn much from the job, and at 16, a lack of funds forced Winslet to leave Redroofs. To support herself, she worked at a delicatessen. In 1992, she had a small part in the television film Anglo-Saxon Attitudes, an adaptation of Angus Wilson's satirical novel. Winslet, who weighed 13 st. at the time, played the daughter of an obese woman in it. While filming, an off-hand comment from the director Diarmuid Lawrence about the likeness between her and the actress who played her mother prompted Winslet to lose weight. She next took on the role of the young daughter of a bankrupt middle-aged man in the television sitcom Get Back. She also had a guest role in a 1993 episode of the medical drama series Casualty. 1994-1996 Film Breakthrough. Winslet was among 175 girls to audition for Peter Jackson's psychological drama Heavenly Creatures, and was cast after impressing Jackson with the intensity she brought to her part. The New Zealand-based production is based on the Parker Hume murder case of 1954, in which Winslet played Juliet Hume, a teenager who assists her friend, Pauline Parker, in the murder of Pauline's mother. She prepared for the part by reading the transcripts of the girls' murder trial, their letters and diaries, and interacted with their acquaintances. She has said that she learned tremendously from the job. Jackson filmed in the real murder locations, and the experience left Winslet traumatized. She found it difficult to detach herself from her character, and said that after returning home, she often cried. The film was a critical breakthrough for Winslet. The Washington Post writer Desson Thompson called her a bright-eyed ball of fire, lighting up every scene she's in. Winslet recorded Juliet's aria for the film's soundtrack. Also that year, she appeared as Geraldine Barclay, a prospective secretary, in the Royal Exchange Theatre production of Joe Wharton's farce What the Butler Saw. While promoting Heavenly Creatures in Los Angeles, Winslet auditioned for the minor part of Lucy Steele for a 1995 film adaptation of Jane Austen's novel Sense and Sensibility, starring and written by Emma Thompson. Impressed by her reading, Thompson cast her for the much larger part of the recklessly romantic teenager Marianne Dashwood. The director Ang Lee wanted Winslet to play the part with grace and restraint, aspects that he felt were missing from her performance in Heavenly Creatures, and thus asked her to practice Tai Chi, read Gothic literature, and learn to play the piano. David Parkinson of the Radio Times found Winslet to be a standout among the ensemble cast, and Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle took note of how well she had portrayed her character's growth and maturity. The film grossed over $134 million worldwide. She won the Screen Actors Guild and British Academy Film Award for Best Supporting Actress, and received nominations for the Academy Award and Golden Globe Award in the same category. Also in 1995, Winslet featured in the poorly received Disney film A Kid in King Arthur's Court. Winslet had roles in two period dramas of 1996 Jude and Hamlet. As with her Heavenly Creatures part, Winslet's roles in these films were those of women with a mad edge. In Michael Winterbottom's Jude, based on the novel Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy, she played Sue Bridehead, a young woman with suffragette leanings who falls in love with her cousin, Jude. Roger Ebert believed that the part allowed Winslet to display her acting range, and praised her for the defiance she brought to the role. After unsuccessfully auditioning for Kenneth Branagh's 1994 film Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Winslet was cast for the part of Ophelia, the doomed lover of the title character, in Branagh's adaptation of William Shakespeare's tragedy Hamlet. Winslet, at 20 years old, was intimidated by the experience of performing Shakespeare with established actors such as Branagh and Julie Christie, saying that the job required a level of intellect that she thought she did not possess. Mike Jeffries of Empire believed that she had played the part well beyond her years. Despite the acclaim, Jude and Hamlet earned little at the box office. 1997-2003, Stardom with Titanic and small-scale features. Winslet was keen on playing Rose DeWitt Bukater, a free-spirited socialite aboard the ill-fated RMS Titanic. in James Cameron's epic romance Titanic. Cameron was initially reluctant to cast her, preferring the stars Claire Danes or Gwyneth Paltrow. But Winslet pleaded with him, "You don't understand. I am Rose. I don't know why you're even seeing anyone else." Her persistence led Cameron to hire her. Leonardo DiCaprio featured as her love interest, Jack. Titanic had a production budget of $200 million, and its arduous principal photography was held at Rosarito Beach, where a replica of the ship was created. Filming proved to be taxing for Winslet. She nearly drowned, caught influenza, suffered from hypothermia on being submerged in freezing water, and had bruises on her arms and knees. The workload allowed her only 4 hours of sleep a day, and she felt drained by the experience. David Anson, writing for Newsweek, praised Winslet for capturing her character's zeal with delicacy, and Mike Clark of USA Today considered her to be the film's prime asset. Against expectations, Titanic went on to become the highest-grossing film of all time to that point, earning over $2 billion in box office receipts worldwide, and established Winslet as a global star. The film won 11 Academy Awards, the most for any film including Best Picture, and gained Winslet a Best Actress nomination. Winslet did not view Titanic as a platform for bigger salaries. She eschewed parts in blockbuster films in favor of independent productions that were not widely seen, believing that she still had a lot to learn, and was unprepared to be a star. She later said that her decision ensured career longevity. Hideous Kinky, a low-budget drama shot before the release of Titanic, was Winslet's sole film release of 1998. She turned down offers to star in Shakespeare in Love and Anna and the King to do the film. Based on the semi-autobiographical novel by Esther Freud, Hideous Kinky tells the story of a single British mother yearning for a new life in 1970s Morocco. Writing for the New York Times, the critic Janet Maslin commended Winslet's decision to follow up Titanic with such an offbeat project, and took note of how well she had captured her characters' obliviousness and optimism. Jane Campion's psychological drama Holy Smoke featured Winslet as an Australian woman who joins an Indian religious cult. She found the script brave and was challenged by the idea of portraying an unlikable, manipulative woman. She learned an Australian accent and worked closely with Campion to justify her character's vileness. The film required her to perform explicit sex scenes with her co-star Harvey Keitel, and featured a scene in which her character appears stark naked and urinates on herself. David Rooney of Variety wrote, showing the kind of courage few young thesps would be capable of and an extraordinary range. From animal cunning to unhinged desperation, Winslet holds nothing back. That same year, she voiced a fairy for the animated film Fairies, and won the Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album for Children for narrating the short story, The Face in the Lake. For the children's audiobook, listen to The Storyteller. In Quills, a biopic of the erratic Marquis de Sade, starring Geoffrey Rush and Joaquin Phoenix, Winslet played the supporting part of a sexually repressed laundress working in a mental asylum. Hailing her as the most daring actress working today, James Greenberg of Los Angeles Magazine praised Winslet for continuing to explore the bounds of sexual liberation. She received a SAG Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. The following year, she played a fictitious mathematician involved in the cracking of the Enigma ciphers in Michael Apted's espionage thriller Enigma. Winslet's character was vastly expanded from a subsidiary love interest in the novel it was based on to a prominent code breaker in the film. She was pregnant while filming, and to prevent this from showing, she wore corsets under her costume. The biopic Iris featured Winslet and Judi Dench as the novelist Iris Murdoch at different ages. The director Richard Eyre cast the two actresses after finding a correspondence of spirit between them. Winslet was drawn to the idea of playing an intellectual and zesty female lead, and in research, she read Murdoch's novels, studied her husband's memoir Elegy for Iris, and watched televised interviews of Murdoch. The project was filmed over 4 weeks and allowed Winslet to bring her daughter, who was 6 months old at the time, on set. Writing for The Guardian, Martin Amis commented that the seriousness and steadiness of Winslet's gaze effectively suggests the dawning amplitude of the Murdoch imagination. Winslet received her third Oscar nomination for Iris, in addition to BAFTA and Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actress. Winslet's third film release of 2001 was the animated film Christmas Carol, the movie, based on Charles Dickens' novel. For the film's soundtrack she sang "What If," which proved to be a commercial hit. She donated her earnings from it to children's charities. After a year-long absence from the screen, Winslet starred as a headstrong journalist interviewing a professor on death row in the thrill of the life of David Gale. She agreed to the project to work with the director Alan Parker, whom she admired, and believed that the film raised pertinent questions about capital punishment. Mick Larseller thought that the film had muddled the subject and disliked both the film and Winslet's performance. 2004, 2007, romances, comedies, and little children. To avoid typecasting in historical dramas, Winslet sought out films set in contemporary times. She found it in the science fiction romance Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, in which she played the neurotic and impetuous Clementine, a woman who decides to erase memories of her ex-boyfriend. Unlike her previous assignments, the role allowed her to display the quirky side to her personality. Gondry encouraged Carey and Winslet to improvise on set, and to keep herself agile she practiced kickboxing. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind proved to be a modest financial success, and several critics regarded it as one of the best films of the 21st century. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone considered it to be a uniquely funny, unpredictably tender and unapologetically twisted romance, and thought that Winslet was electrifying and bruisingly vulnerable in it. A journalist for Premiere magazine credited her for abandoning her corseted English rose persona, and featured it as the 81st greatest film performance of all time. Winslet considers it to be a favorite among her roles, and she received Best Actress nominations at the Oscar and BAFTA Award ceremonies. She had said that the film marked a turning point in her career, and prompted directors to offer her a wide variety of parts. Winslet was paid £6 million to star in her next release of the year, the drama Finding Neverland. It is about the relationship between J.M. Barrie and the Llewellyn Davis boys, which inspired Barrie to write Peter Pan. Winslet played the boys' mother, Sylvia. Despite her reluctance to star in another period piece, Winslet agreed to the project after empathizing with Sylvia's love for her children. Ella Taylor of LA Weekly found Winslet to be radiant and earthy as ever, and CNN's Paul Clinton thought that she was exceptional in a delicate and finely tuned performance. She received a second Best Actress nomination at that year's BAFTA Award ceremony. With a box office gross of $116 million, Finding Neverland became her most widely seen film since Titanic. In 2005, Winslet took on a guest role in an episode of the British comedy sitcom Extras, starring Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. She played a satirical version of herself in it, an actress who, in an effort to win an Oscar, takes the role of a nun in a Holocaust film. She received a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series nomination. Within 3 months of giving birth to her second child, Winslet returned to work on Romance and Cigarettes, a musical romantic comedy directed by John Turturro, in which she played Tula, a promiscuous and foul-mouthed woman. The part required her to sing and dance, and it helped her lose weight gained during her pregnancy. She twisted her ankle while filming one of the dance sequences. Derek Elley of Variety wrote that despite her limited screen time, Winslet had the showiest troll and filthiest one-liners. Winslet declined an offer from Woody Allen to star in Match Point to spend more time with her children. Winslet had 4 film releases in 2006. She first appeared in All the King's Men, a political thriller set in 1940s Louisiana, featuring Sean Penn and Jude Law. She played the supporting part of the love interest to Law's character. The film received negative reviews for its lack of political insight and narrative cohesiveness, and failed to recoup its $55 million investment. Her next release, the drama Little Children, was better received. Based on the novel of the same name, the film tells the story of Sarah Pierce, an unhappy housewife who has an affair with a married neighbor. Winslet was challenged by the role of an uncaring mother, as she did not understand or respect her character's actions. Scenes requiring her To be hostile towards the child actress playing her daughter proved upsetting for her. Having given birth to 2 children, Winslet was anxious about the sex scenes in which she had to be nude. She took on the challenge to present a positive image for women with imperfect bodies. A.O. Scott of the New York Times wrote that Winslet successfully registers every flicker of Sarah's pride, self-doubt, and desire, inspiring a mixture of recognition, pity and concern. With another Academy Award for Best Actress nomination, Winslet, at 31, became the youngest performer to accrue 5 Oscar nominations. After Little Children, Winslet played a part she found more sympathetic in Nancy Meyer's romantic comedy The Holiday. She played Iris, a Briton who temporarily exchanges homes with an American during the Christmas holiday season. The film became Winslet's biggest commercial success in 9 years, grossing over $205 million worldwide. The critic Justin Chang thought the film was formulaic yet pleasing, and took note of Winslet's radiance and charm. In her final release of the year, Winslet voiced Trita, a scavenging sewer rat, in the animated film Flushed Away. Winslet's sole project of 2007 was as the narrator for the English version of the French children's film The Fox and the Child. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?